It's the I Hardly Know Her podcast, where we activate the improv power of yes and into our conversations to spark curiosity and expand our perspectives in life. Listen in as we chat with industry leaders who share their stories and skills to help inform and inspire so we can all be better individuals contributing to a better world. And remember, you don't have to be a big deal to do big things. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the I Hardly Know Her podcast. Today's guest, I've known her for several years, and I love seeing the work that she does in the community. She also has like a really epic position in the corporate space, and I like the way that she merges her personal passion, her life stories with the things that she can do to impact in a lot of different places. But really, sometimes I feel like we get stuck in a rut in our day jobs and whatever else, and we kind of lose sight of the things that we can do in life that really keep our fire lit and help us to serve others with our passion. And our guest today is someone who totally embodies that and makes me excited about life every time I see her because she has such yummy energy. So everyone, welcome to the show today, Lauren VanDerhoff. I'm so glad to have you here with me.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Megan.
So Lauren, you like first and foremost, she is a huge advocate. You're a huge advocate for 4-H, which when you first told me about this, I had probably what is a very common mindset of like thinking I knew a lot about it. It's all agriculture and all the whatever. And I'm like, ooh. So I immediately remember thinking, oh, I wonder did she live on a farm? Did she have horses? Like I actually immediately went that route and then learned that it's way, way, way more. And that's why I love hearing about your passion and how many layers there are to like developing really, really well-rounded humans. So like, just give us a little bit of an intro to what got you into 4-H. What was that experience like for you? And then we'll kind of unpack it of how it serves you even today.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I was enrolled in 4-H when I was 5 years old. So 4-H is open to K through 12th grade, 5-year-olds through 18-year-olds. And I was very fortunate that my parents got me a pony. And they were like, what is this girl going to do with her pony? So they contacted their local extension office, which is through the University of Idaho in the state of Idaho, and got me squared up to become a member of a 4-H club. So our 4-H club consisted of 14 mostly teenagers. So I was excited to be hanging out with teenagers as this young girl with my pony and learning from them. And I had absolutely no idea the opportunities that 4-H would bring me. So I delved into some other projects. Step back. 4-H is no longer just cows, corn, and cooking, right? There are over 100 projects that kids can do, whether it's science, technology, engineering, and math, whether it's animal related, there's plant related. I mean, from A to Z, there is a project for it in 4-H. They actually introduced theater after I graduated, which made me really sad because I would have loved to do a theater project. So I went into hermit crab, hamster, which is called pocket pet, any pet that can fit in your pocket, and then you show at the fair. Dog 4-H was absolutely amazing, just obedience training for me and my dog to connect and work on anything that you would, any tricks that your dog would like to learn. And then I continued with my horse projects and went into vet science, which opened the door to possibilities of becoming a veterinarian. What's it like to be a veterinarian? What do they need to know? What do you need to study? And then I ended with leadership. And a huge part of leadership with 4-Hers is it's a lot of the older members mentoring the younger members. Like, hey, this isn't my first rodeo. I've filled out plenty of 4-H books. I've gone to the fair plenty of times. Let me help you. So it led to me getting a full ride scholarship to college. It led to me having these amazing leadership opportunities in student council at school, traveling to Washington, D.C. for a youth leadership conference. It really pressed serving locally before serving globally. So in my little community that I grew up in, I was the queen of volunteering. Anytime I could help anybody, I would love it. And it fills my heart to help others. And volunteering is a huge aspect of 4-H. And it also led me to serving globally afterwards in Ethiopia and in Europe, just finding these volunteer opportunities that really lit a fire in my heart to go serve. And so 4-H actually stands for Head, Heart, Hands, and Health, which a lot of people don't know. They're like, what are the 4-H's?
Yeah,
And
no,
so,
I didn't
yeah,
know.
now I just love advocating for youth. I really am a firm believer that it builds these amazing children. And when I interview a lot of alumni, they talk about how whatever work they're doing today in their personal life or their professional
Mhm.
life, they can thank those amazing skills that 4-H taught them.
Yeah. Well, so it's like an after school type of thing, right? Or like a once a week. I mean, you're still living regular
You
life
are.
and doing all your regular schooling and doing all the family things and everything else that's just normal protocol, I guess, for
Yep.
most kids. And then you having this infusion though of a whole other space of different people to interact with, different adults to become
Yes.
leaders, to find different ways to look at things. I mean, I think there's so many different layers to the advantages that gives that you wouldn't even think about unless you really stop to think about it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So the season can start in October. It really depends on what project you're going to take. If you're going to do livestock, something like sheep, cows, or pigs, you have to do weigh-in and a lot of those things in the fall prior to the 4-H year. But
Okay.
usually in most counties, closure for open enrollment ends in April or May. And you work on that project, and it depends on the 4-H leader or the 4-H group, but we would meet once a week. We would have a monthly community service. You keep this 4-H book and it has all of your records, whether it's
Mhm.
budgeting for your project, organizational skills. You set goals at the beginning of the year. And the main goal is to show your project at the county fair, which is usually in late July, early August. And that's where you get to just take pride in this amazing project that you've been working on, show off your achievements to a judge, get amazing, healthy feedback about what you could improve on or just a great job. But something I'd really like to speak to is mentors. There
Yeah.
are phenomenal 4-H mentors that came in and out of my life during my 4-H experience. And I
Mm,
really have them to thank for leading me to be a safe space for someone to talk to, someone to help me with my goals, to give me challenges to grow. Yes, mentors and volunteers in 4-H are absolutely needed, and the kids need it. The kids need
yeah.
someone to look up to, a subject matter expert in the world of work or when it comes to volunteering, or just a safe space to talk to somebody.
Yeah. And did you look forward to it? I mean, I would sense that you like it didn't feel like this extra thing you had to do. It was
No,
like something that you were like,
absolutely.
this is probably more like this is the highlight
Yeah.
of what's going on in my year, right?
Yes, I was addicted. I just could not wait for the fair to show off my achievements and all of this hard work that I put into this project, the payoff, right? So
Yeah.
so in 4-H, kids really do learn by doing. It's very hands-on. They get
Yeah.
to find out their interests, gain new skills, and then show off their achievements. And all of their goals are SMART goals, which is attainable, and you have a timeline. So it's interesting to me how many people I meet as an adult in corporate America work life. They're like, how do I set an attainable goal? And I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this is something I've been doing every single year in my childhood. So it's
Uh-huh.
just so foreign to me that it's like, I've only lived my life. And when people don't have those kinds of, maybe they didn't have the opportunity, I'm not sure what
Right.
background they come from. I'm like, I would love to teach you because that's an amazing skill that I learned from my 4-H days.
Yeah. Oh, I would love for you to share the story. I know we've talked in the past about like when you kind of had this aha moment of like, oh, everyone didn't grow up like this.
Yes,
What? When you had
100%. I
roommates
just
and are like, tell
Oh
me
my
about
gosh.
that when you were at college and going, wait, 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 wait.
Yeah. Freshman
Hold up.
freshman year of college, I was in this Comm 101 class. There were two things that really stuck out to me. Public speaking, you could tell who was in 4-H and who wasn't. We just had to simply
Mm,
introduce ourselves, correct? Hi, my name is, I'm from whatever part
mhm.
of the country. So I
Yeah.
get up there, hey, Lauren VanDerhoff. very easy. And then there were other, youth, God bless them, that would get up there and just rash out and have this fear at public speaking, right? It's a very common fear. But
Yeah.
from doing this every single year in 4-H, there's a required demonstration that you have to give, whether it's how to
Mhm.
pick your horse's hooves or different types of dogs. You just need to present on something that you've created a
Yeah.
demonstration on. So that was one thing that was apparent to me, that, wow, not every student goes out in public speaks all the time. How interesting. Another thing was, I was discussing, I had a volunteer opportunity after class that day. And I will never forget, a student turned around to me and was like, oh, volunteer, community service, what'd you get in trouble for? And it
Mm,
just never crossed my mind that that's a punishment. Community
yeah.
service is something that I thrive on, and it fills my bucket and it sparks joy in my heart. And it was something I wanted to do, not something I was forced to do.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
my wheels are turning in new ways right now. Because that is interesting that it's associated as a punishment, and yet I wonder if in like the prison systems and stuff, when they're like, we need to send people out to do community service or like clean up the highways or whatever the things we commonly see, they're actually giving tools and resources. I mean, it's maybe backwards at this point because people have already made some decisions. And
Yep.
yet those are things that had they been infused earlier on, infused is apparently my word of the day. I think I've said it
Yeah.
twice on this episode already.
Love it.
But
Infused.
like if that had already been a part of their life, because we get so much joy, really, if you are serving other people, it's
Mhm.
such a cup filler for both people. And so that is so interesting. I never really thought about it like that, of how it does have a negative connotation, and why people think serving is a punishment when like all of the people I love to watch, like books I read, the podcasts I listen to, the like really high level, high wealth, like those driven type, like Tony Robbins types people,
Yes.
they're constantly talking about get out and serve. You don't have a sale today, go serve someone. Like if your business is not doing well, like figure out how you get outside of yourself to serve others. So you
Yes.
guys are getting that in the 4-H space without really probably being just directly told this is what it's doing. It's just
100%.
becoming
Yeah.
part of who you are.
Reflecting on my formative years is where I was like, oh my gosh, that's where that comes from. Wow, that's where it comes from. A yearn to learn, constantly
Mm,
learning. And, whether it's documentaries or going to workshops, that's a huge thing that I see in 4-H alumni, is this constant yearn to learn, which I love. And another thing, oh no, I'm having a brain fart. It's okay. We'll get back to it. There was something that I was like, oh, I wanted to tell her that. But yeah, you're just instilling this in the child. Oh, there's scientific studies
oh yeah.
on when you give your time, it sparks
Yeah,
dopamine, your endorphins. There's so much research about
totally.
practicing gratitude, right? When you're helping
Mhm.
others, you're like, I am very blessed that I have a different situation, right? So
Yeah.
there's two, everybody wins when we volunteer.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
So I'm a big preacher of that. And then you've got your 4-H book, which this is my 11
Oh
years of
my
4-H book,
word.
and it's just
Just a few
all,
pages.
yeah, just a few pages. It's just all organizational. So one of my favorite things was just sitting down with this my
Yeah.
junior senior year of high school, and while filling out college applications and scholarship forms, they ask, "Do you serve in your community?" Yes, I do. Every single hour is documented in this book. It was
Yes.
so easy to say, I volunteered here on this date for this cause. I mean, it's all right here.
What a
So,
cool like, journal too, to like
yes,
look back on all the things. I
and
love it.
photos. So many great photos. Yeah.
I kind of think that yeah, obviously, yes, this is clearly an amazing thing for young people, and it's like tempting to me to see like how can I like play along, like as an adult, either as a mentor or things that we can do as adults to be in that space. But like when you're talking about people not really even knowing how to set a goal because they've never written it down, I have another client, Sarah Cortez, who is an amazing coach in the goal setting space. And like the number one thing she talks about is how you have to write it down, right? And that's, I'm sure, widely documented as well.
Oh yeah.
But with actual percentages of the likelihood for you to achieve something when you write it down, so that even that skill alone of setting out your plan, looking at all the different moving parts, having like a really honest look at like, what's it going to cost? What are the time commitments? What are the deliverables? How do you measure success versus failure, or like whatever you want to categorize?
Yes.
Um,
And
what an interesting, it's like, I don't know why this feels so like, ha, because it's so,
it's
probably because it's so simple and
It
yet
is. It really
it's
is. You
lacking.
you set
It's
those
really
goals as a 4-H'er at the beginning of the year, and then before the fair, you do a self-evaluation, 1 out of 5. Did you achieve your goals? Awesome, great. Did you not achieve your goals? Okay, what could we do better next year, right?
yeah.
So, yes, and then a judge goes over your record book, and that's one of my favorite volunteer as a mentor now is to be a 4-H book
Oh, cool.
record judge and just look through this and be like, oh, you write a 4-H story, which is a complete overview of your year. What were the highlights? What were the lowlights? What did we learn from it? There's county, district, state, and national competitions. So one of my favorites was demonstrations, and another one was mock job interviews. So say I'm
Ooh.
9 years old and you go in for a mock job interview to babysit someone's house and watch their animals. You have a faux mentor who's there asking you questions, and that's a competition. Extemporaneous speaking, where they give you a topic and 10 minutes later you have to go speak on it. I mean,
Mhm.
there's so many opportunities. I couldn't even touch the first inch of opportunities
That's
because it's
amazing.
it's an organization that's over 122 years old. And like I said, projects for any age child with any interest. It's just wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I would love to just inform everyone I can. And then
Yeah.
volunteers have to
Tell.
go through background check. So your kid is in
Yeah.
a safe
Safely.
environment.
Mhm.
Yep.
Can you tell me about a time, I'm sure there's a lot of them as you've indicated, like a really specific example of sometime in your adult life where you had a challenge or something came up and you like flowed into being able to tackle it more effectively, like because of these rules? I mean, I realize there's probably gobs and gobs of them, but I would
Oh,
love if you
sure.
can like articulate, like cherry pick one or something or a couple that someone can go,
Yeah.
wait, how exactly would this unfold that I could recognize in modern day of like
Yep.
tangible?
100%. Pivot. I love pivoting. We've got an issue.
Mhm.
We need to go this way. And 4-H definitely set me up for that. One of the things that I love to draw from is probably my sophomore or junior year. I was overseeing an event that we would put together for Pet Adoption League, which is a humane society, and it was called Love at First Walk. And I wanted to leave a book for whoever took over after I left 4-H of
Mhm.
how to put an event together, right? Event coordinating isn't everybody's cup of tea, but it was something that naturally I was good at with just a timeline, a budget, and then what's in it for the audience, right? If you come to this event, what do you get when donating to a humane society? Seems simple. That was just my one 4-H project. Well, now in my corporate America role, I'm
Mm,
an event coordinator for events all over the world. And it
mm,
came from learning that through 4-H. So definitely there have been several instances in 4-H that I use today from either confidence. I mean, confidence is one of the biggest things that I see
mm,
these amazing youth coming out of 4-H with just this sense of pride and ownership and a can do anything attitude, which is
mm,
phenomenal. Connection to my community is a huge thing. Just competence, overall competence. Hey, there's a challenge. I'm not afraid to face it. I see that a
yeah,
lot with 4-H alumni that I can tackle anything and I am bigger than whatever the problem is that's presenting itself, which is
yeah.
huge.
Oof. I love it. And I love the way your energy just shifted too when you're talking about that confidence. Because that I don't remember where I heard it. I listened to too many, I'm either reading and or listening to audiobooks, any number of them at any given time, but
Yes.
or super fast. So then I'm on to the next one. But I heard something recently talking about how confidence is like just like a muscle that needs to be exercised in order to
Yes.
gain that strength. And so this is really an opportunity for people to try a lot of different things, see what they like. Like I'm a huge
Mhm.
advocate too of like try something to see if you even like it. Like
Yes.
We don't need to run down a path and have this like lifelong commitment to a thing if we're not even into that, or it's not our strength or skill set. And our confidence does grow when we can actually track that progress has happened, or even
Yes.
if there's a quote unquote failure, if we learn something from that, that still can give us more confidence because we're continuing that learning process. So, and I think that's really cool. There was actually like a genuine shift in your tone of voice and the poise, almost like in your spine of recognizing that it lacks a
Yeah.
lot. I know I talked to some other a gal that does some other leadership training stuff, and she had done a study about people who, the percentage of people who actually have self-awareness is very low. It was like 23% of the population, based off of what they could compute, are actually self-aware, which means an enormous amount of people are not.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is like in relation to whether we can really show up confidently, because
Yep.
there's a lot of ownership and accountability that needs to come with self-awareness and
Yes.
taking risks, trying new
Yes.
things.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I mean, there have been just so many 4-H studies too on what they see from these youth. And one of my favorites is 4-H youth are more likely to give back to their communities, which is something we touched on, more likely to make healthier choices. I mean,
ooh,
saying no to drugs and alcohol, oh my gosh, especially with peer pressure, social media, there's
mhm,
all of this around them. And with 4-H and just these solid values, it's
mhm.
okay to have the confidence to say, no, thank you. That's not for me. I like
Yeah.
to live my health with a clear mind. More likely to participate in STEM activities, which is
Mm,
awesome. It's just a safe and fun, inclusive environment with amazing adults, where kids just bloom. We plant this seed in little 4-Hers and they bloom into these amazing adults with long-term outcomes, like um, just a lot of positivity in schools. Oh, there's a huge correlation to 4-Hers usually have leadership roles in schools, do better in school. Um, Anti-bullying, which is
yeah.
huge.
Oh, yeah.
So just speaking up for you and your friends, being like, this is okay, this is not acceptable. Just clear values, which
Yeah.
it's an interesting topic right now with, we see it in schools sometimes too, where parents are, it's the teacher's job to teach values. No, it's not. That can come from
Mm,
the home and that can come from extracurricular activities such as 4-H.
yeah.
So it's an interesting time to who should be teaching this kid this.
Right.
Another thing, there was a huge study done between 2002 and 2008 where they followed 7,000 4-H youth,
Ooh.
and it came out to they they showed up and I don't want to say were above their peers. They excelled above their
Mhm.
peers.
Mhm.
And there was 5 areas of youth development, which I love: competence, confidence, character, connection, and caring. Empathy.
Mm,
Empathy for those things that are living, for others. That's another skill that I've seen so many young men uh, gain in 4-H, which is awesome. We live
mhm.
in, sometimes it's such a masculine society where there's toxic masculinity, and it's not okay to be empathetic, is what our young men are told. And yes, it is.
Yeah.
Apathy is going to be the death of all of us, but empathy is just, it's kind of like volunteering. Everybody wins when we're empathetic and when we can realize we don't know where someone's coming from. We haven't walked a mile in their shoes. So
Yes.
another benefit of 4-H.
Oh, man,
Um,
they go on and on.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I could. so, so yeah. And I reached out to several of my 4-H alumni friends. We would go to teen conference up at the University of Idaho, starting in 8th
Mm,
grade. I was a 4-H ambassador, where you go on these 4-H ambassador trips and pretty much spread the word of 4-H, but then you come back to the adults in the community and get to talk about what you learned on these ambassador trips. Just too much. There was my youth was just filled with phenomenal 4-H experiences. And now we say, like, let's bleed green. If you bleed green,
uh-huh.
that's 4-H, right?
I love
And
it.
yeah, some parents used to joke, if your kid's going to join a gang, why not have it 4-H? Well, and I know that
Yes.
the term gang is like, usually not a good thing to join. But if your kids are going to be involved in something, make it 4-H, where you're just going to multiply your impact and spread that awareness of growing strong children, growing these amazing adults.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and that actually, that statement sort of brings together some of the thoughts that I was having as you list off all of the things that are these benefits that people are getting. It is amazing, and I'm still hearing in my mind and seeing flashes of the times I encounter adults who have not had these kinds of experiences, who are the bullies. They are the people that are like unwilling to take accountability, and the ones that are like, oh, the teacher should be taking this. It's like possibly because of a lack of confidence in being able to teach if we don't know the things. And then your quote, is it your quote that I know I've heard you say it, but is it like a technical quote from someone else that is about building strong youth is easier than, what is the quote? The easier than
Frederick Douglass said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And yeah, that's kind of my whole platform when preaching the gospel of 4-H, right? is why don't we start upstream, right? Instead of spending our time and our resources downstream, which I'm not whatsoever saying we shouldn't help incarcerated adults, right? But the number of incarcerated adults, A, worldwide, but B, in the United States, is absolutely mind-blowing. And it's like, where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong as a society where these children who are innocent and just, so pure turn into what we would call a broken adult, someone who just a non-contributing member of society, right? And I really am for upstream. And mentors is where it really comes in. Having a non-adult, non-parent mentor is huge. Just one person in the corner of your ring saying, "Good job, you've got this, I'm here for you." That's huge. When I've been researching a lot of why do we have so many adults, incarcerated or in gangs, or why did they end up this way? Mentorship. A lot of it was, and of course, there could have been teachers. There could have been somebody in their life who tried to mentor, but we really just need to have a healthy relationship between strong mentors and youth to develop a better society, in my opinion, future leaders.
Yeah, very much so. So you're clearly passionate on the topic, and you more and more you're getting to the point of like sharing this message like more formally, but you obviously have been talking about this a lot. Like, when did it click over though to where you're like, this is the platform. This is really what I want to keep driving that message forward, and like stepping on stages and really being able to help amplify that message to as many people as possible. Has this been something that's been like really brewing for a long time, or was there like a rapid aha moment that you're like, wait, like it's probably been there all along, but maybe there's this moment. What has it been like to get to where you're like, we're hungry for sharing these types of stories, and what has that journey been for you?
Yeah. So growing up, I always knew, A, I like to talk. B, I love to spread positivity. How can I spread more positivity into the world? That I feel is pretty much my purpose on earth, is spreading positivity. And then in 2017, I was actually about to give birth. And the week prior, I did a workshop, and my topic was 4-H, head, heart, hands, health. How do we create new leaders? How do we create strong leaders for America's future, for the world's future? Took a hiatus until last year. Last year was when I was like, I'm onto something. There's something here. I need to move forward with this. There's a lot of people who have a misconception as to what 4-H is, right? Oh, I can't do 4-H. I don't own land. I can't, I live in city limits. I can't own a cow. And it's like, wait. Who told you that it's just cows? Who told you that it's only agriculture? So really, I don't want to say correcting people's views, but just letting them know the truth about my experience, how, hey, it helped me, and I think it can help you and your children, and just guide them, kind of guide and help these kids to unlock their greatest potential. I was really preached, whatever you want to be when you grow up, whatever you want to do with your life, you're the CEO of your body and your mind and your voice. You've got this.
Mm.
So yeah, it's always kind of been there. But really reflecting on my experiences now is that light bulb of, oh my gosh, all of these things that I do in corporate America, all of my leadership roles that I hold over a broad variety of activities and extracurricular activities. That's what got me there. 4-H just like
Mm.
breathed this life into me that made me
Mm.
what I would call a strong adult in today's society. And I
Yeah.
love reaching out to, like I said, my fellow alumni. And what makes me just soar over the moon is when they say, oh my gosh, I just enrolled my kid in 4-H. And I'm like, yes, 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 right?
Yeah.
So I love hearing people's 4-H stories. I have yet to hear a negative 4-H story. Oh, I did it for a
Yeah.
year and I hated it. Or I have only heard positive things about how it helped me grow. It gave me mentors. I love community service.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
that's
cool.
I believe my purpose. Yeah.
I love it. And honestly, and I know this might sound like an awful thing, but I did not realize how active it still was. Like I
Yeah.
sort of thought it was not a thing anymore because I remember hearing about it when I was younger.
Yeah.
And like people that are my age that did have like more of a farm life type of a
Mhm.
thing.
More
And then
rural.
I was like, whoa, wait a second, and very intrigued to see like what types of things might be of interest of my kiddos that like honestly, I'm like, oh, I think I told you that recently that I jumped on and I was like, where's my area situation? Like, how do I find out more? Because it is a super affordable, very easily accessible option.
Yep.
And honestly, for parents, it takes stuff off our plate a little bit to use the community
100%.
to help us
Yes.
raise the children.
100%. So the National 4-H Council, I think it's 4h.org. There is a plethora of information. And I mean, I am not young, but since I got out of 4-H, they've added so many cool, amazing things that I'm like, I wish that I had this when I was in 4-H, right?
Right.
Just giving more youth a voice to express what challenges they're going through, to express what opportunities they have is phenomenal. So 4h.org is an amazing resource. And then every county, almost every county in the United States has a 4-H extension office, and the
Mm.
extension office is a part of a university. So if anybody just wants to go in and talk to their local 4-H extension office, I mean, that's your wealth of knowledge with what
Yeah.
projects in the valley are popular. Maybe they don't offer quite as many projects, or how many 4-H groups are clubs, how many 4-H clubs are in the valley. And they'll give you their honest feedback. Like this
Mm.
4-H club has some open enrollment. We think you'd be a great
Mm.
fit here. So
Very cool.
yeah, and not only is it national, it's international too. It's in 50 countries. They became international in 1947, which is mind blowing. But like
Yeah.
Kenya has a huge 4-H presence, which I didn't even know.
That
I
is
just
so
knew
cool.
that Idaho had one, right? And one of my favorite events was teen conference. And I remember in 8th grade, stepping off that bus on the University of Idaho campus and just seeing
Mhm.
the beautiful admin lawn and the clock tower. And we got to stay in the dorms. And these 8th graders are thinking, this is awesome. I get to act like a college student. And guess what? University of Idaho's enrollment goes up every year because these
Mm.
younger kids get to see what it's like to live on a 4-H campus and take classes and all of this. So that's just one of the several opportunities I had that just sticks out in my mind of would I have chosen the University of Idaho if it wasn't for 4-H, right?
Yeah.
Another quick fun fact, really big colleges I've seen on their application letters, such as Harvard, Princeton, one of the questions was, were you enrolled in an extracurricular organization such as 4-H?
Ooh.
Wow, that's what they look for. Grades, yes,
Yeah.
grades are important. Grades can only help you so much. What did you do for your community? What
Mhm.
projects were you involved in? What ownership did you take? What mentors helped you to get to where you are? College applications are also looking for that chunk of meat right there.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, that totally makes sense on so many levels.
Yeah.
Okay. So as we are on the home stretch here, I feel
Yeah.
like I want to issue a challenge to listeners. Two challenges. Ready for this? And feel free to add into this. As an adult, if we have something that we're super passionate about, check it out to see if it's something that is either our professional space or our favorite hobby that we can be a mentor. Or for those of you out there listening who are not doing things like I honestly, I hear it from a lot of women my age that they don't even know what they enjoy anymore. They've kind of lost
Mm,
themselves in motherhood and career and all the different things. So if you don't currently have a hobby, then as an adult, I want to challenge you to go try something new.
mhm.
Like I, I don't know. It feels like it should be a really obvious thing, but until we take a little bit of a risk and just sign up for an art class, a paint night, I want to take a tap dance class again that I did as an adult before. I'm like, I want to hear about people stretching themselves because we
Yep.
do need to remove ourselves from our daily routine to realize how much more there is that we get to learn and expand on. So that's a challenge number one for you adults is like, get more engaged. Let's participate more fully in our own lives, and explore what's possible. And then the second one is to take a look at the list of the things that are available. So if you are a parent or like if you've got a kid in your house, I realize that there's not all the normal. I mean, I am one of the unusual households. It's not
Yeah.
unusual. There's no such thing as normal anymore.
Amen.
Whatever adult life or the adults, the grown-ups in people's lives for whatever kids, whether they're nieces or nephews or neighbors or whatever, explore what their interests are. Like, I
Yes.
don't want to be the one that finds out when my kids are all grown up that I'm the one that missed getting them exposed to options.
Agreed. It's huge opportunities out there. I highly encourage just checking out 4h.org or your local extension office and just picking their brains on, hey, have I missed enrollment for this year? Which you haven't, but
Mm,
$20 for the entire year enrollment. And then
yeah.
25 if you're going to do horse. And if you have 4 or 5 children, there's a discount
Oh,
for
good.
bigger households, right? Yay.
Yep.
So I know so many people I ask, how did you get involved? Well, my big brother and sister were involved, and I watched how much fun they had in 4 H. And so I couldn't wait to join as a clover bud. The clover buds are so cute. They're 5 to 7. And then once you're 8, you're like a real 4 H'er.
Wow.
And exploring the world of work. That's another thing that's in our 4 H book where you shadow someone for a day and just learn what they do for work. And it opens, oh my gosh, I had no idea that you could be a public speaker for life, right? Or that
Right.
you could create your own shoes. I don't know what it is, but exploring the world of work. And yes, definitely getting out of your comfort zone and just joining something. If you asked 15-year-old Lauren if in her 30s she would be on a bowling league, I would have said absolutely not. And it's one of the highlights of my week, right?
Yeah,
And
heck yeah.
I came in not knowing much about bowling other than fun evenings with my friends in college. But now it's a 29-week league, and I look forward to
Oh,
it every
yeah.
week. And I've met some amazing people. My scores have significantly improved. So yes, I definitely, to piggyback off of what you said, adults, finding hobbies, finding interests. We
Yeah.
were sent to earth to do more than just pay bills and die.
Mm,
It's the truth. Like if
mhm.
we're going to be here, on this big spinning globe for however many years, let's make the best of it. Whether
Yeah.
it's giving back to your community, finding new hobbies, just something that sparks joy in your heart. Like my little sign says, whatever makes you feel the sun from the inside out, chase
Mhm.
that.
Mm. I love it so much.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing your positive energy into the space. I know my listeners will be fortified for having heard your insights and your wisdom and your passion. It's such a magnetic force that you have. And I think
Mhm.
it's really amazing. I, I want more people to feel like they're part of something that it
Yes.
makes them the best version they can be, and then to keep getting better as we get to learn and grow. And you are such a shining example of that. So I'm excited to have you in my force field of life and knowing that
Yes.
you are bringing such goodness into the world, and really appreciate you taking the time to come on to the podcast.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Megan. This has been a wonderful experience, and I am just glad anybody who wants to hear about 4 H, I will talk to them. So thank
Make
you
sure
so
that
much
they
for letting me have a voice on your platform. And this has been wonderful.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're amazing. It's always great when I have cool people on here telling us awesome things. So, those of you that are tuning in, make sure you check out the show notes so that you can connect directly with Lauren. And then we'll also drop in the 4-H link too, so that people can jump on 4h.org and see all the different things that are available and maybe get inspired. That's not too late for us old people to get some revitalization in our lives and break some bad patterns so that we can pave the way for our next generation to really thrive.
Amen.
All right. Okay, catch you soon. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And thanks again, Lauren.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the I Hardly Know Her podcast. For information about leadership workshops, public speaker training, and all things Kooky Megan, check out improvteamculture.com. We'll catch you next time.